Hi guys, Watch Fanatic here. Here is a watch I purchased from eBay, and it's a 1960s, probably very early 1960s Swiss manufacturer called ROCAR. It's an automatic watch, and this cost me £8. And it is kind of working, but unfortunately I can't change the time. So I took a bit of a risk on this. It was described as basically working, but you can't change the hands, and not much more description than that. So for the price, I thought I'll just have a look just to see if it's the crown stem perhaps needs tightening up. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to do that. I'll show you what I mean when I get the case back off. So I thought I'd still do a little video about this watch just in case you hadn't heard of it, and you probably haven't. So back in the 60s, well, even of course before that, 50s, 60s, 40s, there were many Swiss manufacturers of watches. So around when this was made, they were making quite inexpensive watches for mass market, really. There were 1,600 Swiss manufacturers making watches, and a lot of those went in the event of the quartz crisis, which happened in the 1970s. Manufacturers like Seiko came along with cheap quartz movements, and the Swiss manufacturers just couldn't compete. They even didn't really try to compete, and a lot of them just went bust. We lost them. So we lost about, I think, 1,000 manufacturers out of the 1,600. The ones that were left realised they needed to up their game, and they became much more higher quality. So they kind of, the ones that survived concentrated on quality rather than the cheapness and everyday accessibility of the quartz watch. And then eventually you had Swatch Group that came along and made an inexpensive movement, and that helped as well. But this, what is it called? ROCAR. They've gone. You know, this was probably one of their last watches. I mean, it's not a bad quality one. So these were not particularly great quality, but not the worst. I've seen a lot worse. It is an automatic movement, although it says on the dial there, automatique, like French, ending Q. Let's have a look, show you. As I say, I can't move those hands to get that out of the hands out of the way. The writing is 17 joules, and it says automatique, spelled TIQUE. And it's waterproof, anti-magnetic. It's got a really, I've given this watch a really good clean up, by the way. It was quite grotty when I bought it. So I've taken it apart as much as I could, given everything a real good clean and polish. So it's come up pretty nicely. The dial's in good shape. The indexes, I think, are copper. If I catch the light, it's a very dull day here today, but be able to see the indexes and numerals and the ROCAR emblem, which is all copper, I believe. Same as the hands. And you've even got loomed hands, a little bit of loom. Not in fantastic shape, but not bad. Considering this is probably an early 1960s watch, the crystal's in pretty decent shape. The dial has this ringed pattern. We turn it over. We can see that it's stainless steel. It says waterproof again, anti-magnetic, automatic spelt correctly, or the English way, Swiss made, with a serial number. So while I've got this zoom on, I'll take the back off to show you the movement. It's quite an interesting automatic movement. It's not an automatic movement I've come across before. It's got a rotor arm, but it doesn't spin like most rotor arms do. So there you can see Ebosa Matic, patented, the patent pending. I don't know if they ever got that. Par shock. 17 joules, unadjusted. Now, when you look at the rotor, it doesn't go all the way round. What it does is it bounces off these springs here. These little spring arms. One there and one there. So the rotor will go round, bounce off there, and like that. That's kind of how it winds itself. It's working quite nicely, although it does stop after a little while, so it definitely needs a service. Now the issue with the crown stem is I can't see a way that it tightens up. There is a hole there which goes all the way through. It's kind of hollow underneath, but I guess there must have been a screw or something there which perhaps would clamp onto the crown stem, because I can't see any other screw that would do it. So unfortunately the crown will just pull straight out. The crown stem will pull straight out. I'll just pop this back on. So the crown stem will just pull out. If I try to adjust the time, I can pull it out a little bit and it's not doing anything. It kind of winds it, I think. I can feel like it's perhaps winding it, but this will just pull all the way out. A bit of muck on it as well. It looks like it's intact, but there's nothing to clamp it down to refix it back in. As far as I can see, I'm no expert. So that is a little bit of a disappointing realization that I'm not going to be able to fix it. So what I'll probably do is pop this back onto eBay. I thought I'd just show you it because it's quite a nice looking watch. It's a shame I can't fix that crown stem, but maybe I'll put it back on. Maybe someone with more knowledge than me might be able to fix that. It's approximately 33mm case size. Lug to lug is 16. So it's quite a small watch, but they were basically quite small watches back then in the early 60s. A lot of them. This is quite an average size for a watch at that time. And it's a shame because it's quite a nice looking dial. The hands are interesting. I like the copper numbers. So there was, this is just one of those many manufacturers that didn't survive during the quartz crisis. Probably went into administration, whatever, or got bought up by another firm. Never to be seen again. But it's an interesting piece of watch history. And a lot of these just get thrown away, so at least I've given it a good clean up. But yeah, I probably won't keep hold of that. I'll probably pop that back onto eBay in the future when I get a chance. See if I can get my £8 back if I'm lucky. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Showed you something perhaps you haven't seen before. Please like and subscribe. Take care.